Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Clemence Kucera. I am the Assistant Dean for the Graduate Law Programs here at McGeorge. With me today is one of our MSL students, Lazaro Cardenas, who will be sharing some of his experience with you. We're going to talk about the MSL degrees that we offer at McGeorge. What is the curriculum that one must follow while enrolled in our program? What is distinctive about our MSL degree? What to expect, next steps, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So, oops, my apologies. So let me introduce a little bit more our guest, Lazaro Cardenas, who works for the state of California. He, prior to enrolling in McGeorge's MSL program, he was a fellow and legislative aide at the California State Assembly, and he is a graduate of UC Riverside. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Lazaro.
Thank you, Dean Kucera. Pleasure to be here and to talk to you all and about my experience, my background both as an employee of the state of California, but also as a student in the Master of Science and Law program. So a little more about me is I'm currently a racial equity specialist for the California Department of Public Health, the State Department of Public Health, and I do a variety of policy, communications, and strategic planning as it relates to racial and health equity for the department and many of its programs. And that's my full-time job, and I am a part of the MSL program concurrently.
Thank you very much, Lazaro. And I hear there's a promotion in the works, so crossing my finger for you. I'm not going to say congratulations yet, but that's very exciting.
Thank you.
So let's go straight to why would you want to pursue an MSL degree? So obviously, like, there are plenty of reasons why would want to pursue an MSL degree, like to gain expertise in a particular area of law. As I mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the programs that we offer. Our MSL program is a master's degree for non-lawyers. Yeah, we designed it a few years ago for working professionals. Often students do it over 2 years, and I'll talk a little bit about the curriculum in a minute. We have a few concentrations and in our MSL program. One is in government law and policy, and another one is in water and environmental law. Those two are 100% online, asynchronous, although students have the flexibility, if they are local to the Sacramento region, to be able to take some in-person class. And we also have 3 other concentrations, one in health law, one in human resources, and then the last one is a general MSL, and it's very much made for those who wants to actually combine 2 areas of law, which I think is very much what you're doing. You are obviously government law and policy as well as health. So tell us a little bit about what made you decide to pursue an MSL degree and why McGeorge?
Yeah, thank you, Dean Kucera. It's been, when I was applying for the program and looking around, I looked at my skill set and what experience I had, and some of the obvious choices around a Master of Public Policy or a Master of Public Administration didn't really make sense in terms of growing my skills. And I look around in terms of my experience with some legislative background, as well as working for the large majority of my career for state agencies. And I realized that, especially in terms of my work on equity, having a legal framework and legal skills was something that I was really missing. And so the Master of Science and Law program definitely just hit that on the nose, and was very much what I was missing in terms of my skills to grow my career. McGeorge was really amazing because, I live in Sacramento. I've worked around in the area for several years now, and the program at McGeorge, the MSL, offered a lot of flexibility, as you stated, for working professionals, and I made the decision to keep working. Also, McGeorge overall has a very great network in the Sacramento area and region. And its name carries a lot of clouds, and as well as in other areas in the Central Valley and the San Francisco area. And so, yeah, the network was something I was very much aware of. And, I think that concentration in health slash the flexibility to take coursework in different sectors of the law was something that I wanted to pursue. And so I think for all those reasons, McGeorge and the MSL program made the most sense for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Lazaro. So we've talked a little bit about the program that we offer. As I mentioned, the MSL degree is a degree that we designed to be completed over 2 years. We had the program. We designed the program for working professionals. That being said, we do have quite some flexibility. We've had students doing it over like a year or a year and a half, so more we would consider that full time. And equally, we've had students, that is frankly more the case, who've had to extend their course of studies for over a longer period of time than just 2 years because of work commitment or professional or personal commitment. But I want to take like a few minutes to talk about like our online curriculum, which is the curriculum that gives you the most flexibility. If you do the MSL in government law and policy or the MSL in water and environmental law, you're able to complete your program 100% online by taking our online asynchronous courses. And in a minute, Lazaro, I will ask you what you think about those courses. But so just to go over the required courses, we have tried to have a balance of required versus elective courses. Obviously, if you want to work in the field of water and environmental law and government law and policy, my apologies, you do need to have some strong foundational skills and knowledge. So the first semester, the Introduction to Legal Analysis and the Analytical Skills course, which is very much a contracts course, are the course that teach you the legal research, legal writing, and legal analysis skills, which is crucial to be able to be successful in any of your or other law courses. Then in your second semester, you take the legislatures and lawmaking, as well as the executive branch and the administrative state course. Those courses, in addition of teaching you practical skills, they're both taught by working professionals, so attorneys, but who work in those in this field, also teach you like the theory on how everything is set up on the in the public side, on the government law side. And water and environmental law is very much a sub part of that world, because it's administrative law specialized in either water resources law or in environmental law. So it's crucial to have those foundational skills and knowledge prior to taking any electives. So our courses, we set them up to be asynchronous, to be online, in order to give as much flexibility to our students. So Lazaro, like what has been your experience so far in the online courses?
Yeah, so I've taken a handful of classes online, contract law, introduction to legal analysis, and leadership and organizational development in the summer. So definitely jumping into a course online, asynchronous, offered me the flexibility I needed to continue my career path. So definitely flexibility is a theme here. But also, I had spoken with another friend who actually had resumed another degree at another university a semester before me, was also doing online courses, and he expressed concern around like the lack of accountability and how hard it was for him to engage. But I didn't really feel that with the McGeorge program. The portal and the way the courses have been designed are, it's very clear about what you're supposed to hit each week in terms of assignments and readings, and also postings. The faculty have all been incredibly accessible in terms of scheduling, responding to emails very promptly well within 24 hours, if not sooner, and also setting up time, making themselves available to the overall class or one-on-one. So I've never had an issue getting access to a faculty member on any of my online courses. And definitely also opportunities to engage in discussion on the dashboards and the postings on a weekly basis with my other students in that cohort.
Thank you. And so you also are taking a mix like of online and in-person courses because you are local to Sacramento. Some of our students are not, and so they do the entire curriculum online. But so do you want to tell us a little bit about, like, do you feel like that you learn as much in the online courses as you're learning in the in-person course?
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience being in person. Obviously, with COVID, this was one of the first online in-person classes I've had in a long time, and it was different. The health law class I'm taking is with other JD students, which is a really great opportunity. And a reason why I wanted to participate to see that difference in rigor and how the more traditional law courses is hosted. So really good opportunity, in health concentration to do that, and the flexibility, getting to, we're still currently wearing our mask in class, right? And in COVID, and it's a large classroom. So I think, it's been really helpful and awesome to get to see my other classmates and have discussion in person and hear from the professor. And it's definitely a different pace. I would say it's a more elongated, I think. But I've appreciated both the in-person and the online coursework in terms of my learning and retaining information. Really just got to do the readings, right? You kind of
Yes.
and in person, the professor provides you kind of prompting and kind of you delve deeper into certain materials. And online, you may have to email specific a question, right, and ask those. So it takes a little bit more initiative in the online, but also, you're not online, you're not commuting to class, right, back and forth. So you have that extra time that you should be is very much available to an online asynchronous to email questions and think about any issues you're having. That's been my experience.
Thank you. So I'm sorry, before I move to the next slide, I realized that I did not talk about the directed research or the master thesis. Those courses are not required courses, but those are electives for those of you who enjoy doing research and more independent studies. We match you with a professor who teaches in the area in which you want to do your research. Directed research is very much the same as a capstone or independent studies. A master thesis obviously describes what it is. It's a thesis, so it's a significant amount of work. So what makes McGeorge's MSL degree distinctive? So we've talked about this. The asynchronous lectures makes it different. Those online courses were put online by design. It is not a result of COVID. So when we put a course online in our program, we take a semester to 2 semesters to develop the course prior to offering it, to teaching it. So there is a good amount of thought process that is put into what would make the most sense and how can we deliver this knowledge in chunks so that like videos are not like 30 minutes long, they're roughly 10 to 15 minutes at the most. That discussion posts like touch on each of the topics that the professor think is essential for the students to have learned. So there is like a very large number of opportunities for students to interact with the faculty, but also with their classmates in those online asynchronous courses. Many of the discussion posts are, and I'm sure Lazaro, you've experienced that, requires you to not only answer the discussion post, but also to reply to some of your classmates, because we want you to have that experience. We want you to exchange with other classmates. It's a crucial part of learning. It's very, very important to be able to share ideas and to discuss them, not just with the professors, but with other students enrolled in the program. In most of the online courses, you will only be with MSL students, although every once in a while we have some public policy students or we have some JD students taking the classes, which I think definitely add to the richness of the class discussion. In addition, our courses will limit the online course enrollment to a cap of 20 students. So we want to have that, and the interaction in our courses is what we care the most about. So if if you are in an online environment and the class has 100 students enrolled, it's going to be very hard to get that individual feedback that Lazaro was just mentioning. So we also talked about, we put a strong emphasis on practical real world assignments. I will let Lazaro talk a little bit more about what he's learned so far and how does that work, how does that directly applies to his current position at the States. And I think we offer amazing networking opportunities. We consider our online students, our MSL students, the same as we consider any other students at the law school. So I'm going to end my few remarks to now, and I'm going to turn this over to you, Lazaro.
Thank you. Yeah. One thing actually interesting in terms of the online courses, because I've done 3 of them. I had contract law and intro legal analysis in my first semester. And in the summer, I had organizational leadership. And I think there were at least 1 or 2 people from each of those that first semester, from contract and intro legal analysis, in my organizational leadership. And it was cool and interesting to really see, again, virtually, having met these people in person and engage with my other students who I'd already engaged with in the previous classes, and kind of understanding, kind of knowing a little bit about how they are, how they frame arguments and discussions. And I felt more comfortable engaging with them because I was already in a class with them virtually. So I think that was kind of interesting kind of feeling when I was engaging in those posts that you're mentioning. In terms of other kind of subject matter information for the coursework and my own experiences, I'm taking health law, as I mentioned earlier. Health law is particular to me because I work in the State Department of Public Health. And early on in the pandemic and COVID-19, there were we were looking at cases and deaths in skilled nursing facilities, nursing homes, and it was really interesting kind of seeing that, and also pretty awful seeing that over the course of the past 1.5 years, and then delving into some of the requirements and law around these nursing homes and nursing facilities in my current health law. I think it's provided a lot of context for me, looking at cases and issues of health and safety for inhabitants in the certification process for these facilities. So it's been very enlightening and kind of grounding a lot of the real world things that I'm seeing at work, and also kind of providing the legal framework as to how these things work out. And that's a little bit about kind of the coursework. I think the last point around networking opportunity, I have felt very welcomed by the McGeorge community, and I strongly encourage anybody who joins this online program, especially if you're doing a purely online program, to take advantage of the opportunities that are available on campus. There are several emails in the writ and elsewhere compile in person, because now we're having in person the second half of the year events. And that was even the case before kind of the state reopened. There was a lot of opportunities for webinars on a variety of kind of communities and caucuses of legal expertise. And I've taken advantage of them, and that's helped a lot in terms of me feeling a part of the McGeorge community and not just feeling like I'm getting some online degree.
Thank you. So what to expect? We obviously talked a little bit about this. Well, not we, you obviously has talked a little bit about this, Lazaro, but so we've talked about the networking opportunity. We've talked about the reason why you do an MSL degree, Alice at McGeorge, is because you want to develop some in-depth expertise in a specific area of law or in specific areas of laws, like if there's more than one. It also to boost your confidence in, you will know how lawyers think, read, and write. You obviously are not doing the program to become an attorney. That's not your outcome, but you want to be able to be fluent in the legal language. And as you will learn, like in the MSL program, it's a different language, it's a different culture, and so you will learn that in the program. It's also going to be challenging. Lazaro has made reference to the reading. It is a law program. We apply the same standards that we apply to our GD students. We assign the same rigor to our courses as we do with our JD courses. And so I'm going to let Lazaro share his experience, but in my experience, I'm also a law school graduate. The law studies like requires a lot of self-discipline because there's a lot of reading, and you need to do the reading, you need to engage with the reading and not do just passive reading in order to be successful in your courses. And we do offer, in addition to everything else that Lazaro mentioned, we also offer an academic support throughout your studies. So if at any point like you feel like you're not able to make it through, we have various resources and help to assist our students. And finally, before I turn it over to you, Lazaro, obviously an MSL degree is going to boost your CV. We've mentioned about the promotion and the works that for Lazaro, and this has been the case for many of our students and alumni. So Lazaro, if you can share a few of your thoughts on what to expect.
Yeah, definitely in terms of the law and legal analysis, definitely very different from traditional policy or kind of program management. And I think it's very it's not only is it a significant amount of readings, but it's also very technical language, right, and legal jargon that you have to sift through. And so I'm regularly there's words that are just thrown out there in Latin and others, and I just Google them. I have to Google them, right, to learn, hey, what is that? This Latin phrase has entire context for this entire case, and you have to do a little extra mile, right? And so definitely filled with technical legal language, and that, learning that, I think, does boost my confidence, right, in terms of my ability to understand these issues. In any organization, but particularly in public service, attorneys and lawyers play a huge role in navigating and driving, compliance and also change within an organization and its mission. And so I feel now a lot more equipped, and I'm only about halfway through my program, to kind of address those issues and engage with on different legal issues. Yeah, I think, and ultimately that's the skill set that was going to help, drive my career forward. I feel very confident about that, and it's a huge consideration as to why I joined the program.
Thank you. So before I open it up for Q&A, next steps for those of you who are interested in joining us, we are currently accepting and reviewing application for our spring intake. And as you know, spring intake, that means that the program starts in January. We're on a semester basis here at McGeorge. So our semesters are January through May, and then in the fall from August through December. And we do have 2 short 3-week summer sessions that we also offer. You can see the deadline, application deadline, December 6th. If you are interested in the program, you want more, you want to have a one-on-one session with me, please email us. I'm happy to connect with prospective students. Our application is online, is on Gradcast. If you attend this webinar, just send us an email and we will send you an application fee waiver. So with that said, I am now going to open it up to Q&A. So please post your question in the chat box or in the Q&A box at the top. So I'm not seeing any questions, but I just really want to encourage you to ask your question. Well, to inspire them, Lazaro, any final tip to someone who is hesitating between doing a master's program or an MSL degree or an MPP degree or an MPA?
Yeah, I think it's really, I thought about it for a while in terms of what pursuing a graduate degree. And I took a 6-year hiatus between my undergraduate and my graduate studies. And I'm glad for me personally, that was what I wanted. Some folks, go sooner, some folks wait longer, and that's what fit my needs. So definitely understanding where are you at and what are your needs in your career, and where does a master's degree fit there? And then, looking into the program and the pace and framework of the program, talk to, attend these sessions, but also reach out to current students, reach out to them. I did a lot of kind of shopping around, so to speak, and ultimately landed with McGeorge for the reasons I just went over. But definitely do your homework and talk to people and attend these sessions. And the websites are obviously big places to get information. McGeorge had just done a huge revamp of the website when I was jumping in, so that was a lot of good information. So definitely tap into different resources to learn about what program will suit your needs.
Thank you. So we did receive a question: how many people consider law school after this program? I don't think a lot of people consider law school after the program. A lot of students consider law school prior to this program, and that's why they're also hesitating between either doing an MSL degree or going for a GD program. We always do have, that being said, we always do have one student or two every year who really did enjoy the MSL classes, and they actually want to take this a step further, and they end up then studying for the LSAT, so the LSAT exam, which is a necessary exam if you want to apply to an ABA accredited law school, and then end up going to the GD program. But so I would say more of an exception, those who go from MSL to JD, but definitely it's the case that many think about JD or an MSL. And that's why I encourage you to connect with me or anybody else in my office to talk about what are your career goals. Your career goals ultimately is gonna guide you into which degree is probably the best for you. And I just want to remind you, this is a law degree. It's not a JD degree, but it is a law degree. Also, this the MSL program is awarded by McGeorge School of Law. Any other questions? Seeing none, I think I'm going to end this webinar now. And I hope you will connect with me individually. And I want to thank you, Lazaro, for spending your Wednesday evening with us. Thank you.